What's up, fellas, ladies and gentlemen? We're fired up. It's Wake Up Mintzy. We're presented by Dude Wipes the Stella Blue. We got a huge weekend ahead in Oxford, Mississippi. Barstool taking over Ole Miss for Georgia Ole Miss. I'll be down there tomorrow. Library Friday night. Punt playing. PFT and the boys going to tear it up at the library Friday night. And then 12:30 on Saturday. Might be a little rainy. Going to bring the raincoat for the Barstool show outside left field fence at Swayze Field, and then we get ready for 2:30. Georgia and Ole Miss. Georgia 2.5-point favorite. Over under 55. Biggest Ole Miss home game, one of them ever. But I thought it was only fitting for the occasion. We're going to bring in the quarterback who was part of probably the biggest Ole Miss home win. Bo Wallace joining us this morning on Wake Up Mintzy. I remember 10 years ago when Bo beat Alabama in the biggest home win ever for Ole Miss, and we appreciate him taking some time and joining us this morning. How are you, Bo?
I'm making it. We're getting old. We're getting old, Mintzy. Seems like yesterday, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, man. It seems like yesterday, but I guess it was long ago, right? Like the song lyric. Man, that was some of my. I'll just say it, man. I actually went back. I'm 41 now, and I went back to school in 14 and 15 because, I'll be honest, I knew how good the football team was going to be, and I was like, this is the time to go back and finish because of what you and Ole Miss had going. So you were a big part of me going back and actually getting a degree with my 2.0000 GPA. So I thank you for that. Hey, so you make degrees. There you go. Well, a bunch of stuff to get into. First of all, I'll talk some Ole Miss. We'll talk. I want to ask. So you're coaching high school. You got a playoff game this week. Tell me about what's going on there.
Yeah. So second year here.
What school?
University School of Jackson. It's a college prep school in Jackson, Tennessee.
Okay.
Really good school. Really good people. Really good, support. So we ended up winning the region this year. We're actually supposed to be playing like a classification down as far as our roster numbers. So pretty big accomplishment. Kids work hard and it's fun.
Heck yeah, man. Well, so are you coaching the quarterback to the offense, or what's your role?
Yeah. I've coordinated. So got a head coach. He calls the defense. Really good head coach. Came from Innsworth. If you've been up to Nashville. Really big private school up there, so he definitely knows what he's doing. I'm learning a lot from him, so really appreciative that they had me here.
Are you enjoying the coaching?
I am. I couldn't see myself doing anything else. I almost gave it up, a couple years ago. With the way I am, I kind of need like a weekly test, to kind of tell me how well I did that week at work. I think it's just conditioned from that's how I've always been, have a week of practice. Okay, here's the test at the weekend. And that's just something. And I think just the locker room and being around the guys and all that stuff, it's you still kind of get a piece of that. It doesn't just leave you. Because I think that's what everybody misses the most when they leave the game is kind of the locker room and things like that. So it kind of gives me a fix competitively and all that.
Hell yeah. Well, good luck. So y'all play first playoff game Friday night, this first round?
Yeah, Friday night. So we ended up getting the 1 seed over in our side. So we'll host all the way to state if we make it. Really, a lot of talent in our side of the bracket. So I really don't know. We got to show up every week.
Heck yeah, man. Well, good luck. We'll be certainly following it. I want to get into the Ole Miss stuff for a second because this almost kind of reminds me of the Bama Ole Miss game from 14 in a way. Bama was like a slight favorite in that, and Georgia's a slight favorite here. Ole Miss has everything in front of them, though. I mean, considering how the Kentucky and LSU games went, I mean, you got to be thankful to just, this new 12-team playoff. I mean, it's right in front of them. You win the Georgia game and you beat Florida with the third stringer and win the Egg Bowl, you're in the playoffs. What's this like, even going back 10 years ago, like when you're getting ready for a game that means this much, like what's like mindset stuff like? It's got to be like some pressure, I would think.
I think more so it's like the fan base feels the anxiety more than the players. In big games, I think for us in 14, I'm sure Twitter's going to go crazy on this one when I say this, but we knew we was going to beat Bama. Like a guy wrote a book, Billy Watkins, you probably know him, wrote a book about, he kind of followed me my senior year. And I mean, I told him in that summer, and it's in the book. Like, we're gonna beat them, and it was exactly how we did. I said what defense they were gonna play, and felt like we were actually better than them on the outside. So we had Treadwell and Vince and all those guys, and just took advantage. I'll tell you, that Bama game, we took a bunch of motion from West Virginia, and that got us like the looks that we wanted. So we kind of just used motion all night to create the looks that we knew we would get off those motions, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. And now you see, like, that is like become, Sarkisian has made that just the biggest thing ever now. I mean, you just, like, in the NFL, you see nothing but motion offenses too, just to get the mismatches and read the defenses.
Yeah,
so,
and it's all, like I watch the 49ers and stuff, and it's all just base stuff. Like, it's everything we have in our offense. It's just like how they're packaging it and getting to it with motions and shifts and things like that. So, I think that's where football's going now. I mean, you see it even trickling down into college, where it used to be tempo, tempo, tempo. Well, now it's kind of slowing back down, and it's becoming a bit of a different game.
Yeah, it's certainly evolving. What was, just looking back, I'm not going to hammer the Bama thing forever, but what was that like winning that game? And just like, that was the craziest weekend in Oxford. I mean, I've been going there forever, and that was literally the number one wildest weekend I've ever seen in Oxford, Mississippi. I mean, that was just...
Yeah, I mean, it was the most fun I've ever had in Oxford, that's for sure. One of my crazy friends, I think we were in the library, and they kicked him out, and then let him back in, after we went and talked to him. So I don't think any other night that probably would have happened. Once you kind of get kicked out of the library, you're done for the night. But it was just a really cool moment. Just all the hard work, we had been there for 3 years, and then the fans, they deserved it too. All the things that they had been through with, the years before we got there. So really big for the fans. And honestly, the fans helped us win that game. I think that game and Mississippi State that year when we played at home, I think the fan base, I mean, they brought it, and definitely helped us win.
Yeah, that Evan Ingram Egg Bowl, man. he just went just nuclear in that game. I tell
Evan all the time, though, you get tackled on the 2 more than anybody I know. I used to tell him that all the time. And even back, now I'll go back and watch our tapes to, I'm stealing something that we used to do or whatever. And I'm just like, God, I forgot how much Evan gets tackled at the 2.
That's funny. That's funny. You mentioned the library tomorrow night, Barstool. We've got a huge thing there. The Barstool band Pup Punk playing library. I might be a little bit involved with it too. The library, I can still do it every now and then. It's tough as we hit our 40s, but we're going to turn it up this weekend for sure for the Georgia game. And then Saturday, 12:30, the Barstool College Football Show with Dave Portnoy, Big Cat, Brandon Walker, Casey, Big Ev, and I'm involved as well outside the Swayze left field fence. And then I got to ask you, okay, looking at this matchup, let's talk about Ole Miss, Georgia. How much does this – it's supposed to be an inch of rain on Saturday. Like, you always hear the debate, does rain or wind affect quarterbacks more? What's your take on getting ready to play in a game that's going to be this rainy? How much does it matter?
So I didn't have to play in a lot of rain games at Ole Miss. I played in a couple at high school, but obviously it's different in the SEC. We played Arkansas that year, and, I kind of tell this story to some of our coaches and players. It's like 30 and drizzling all game, just barely – almost snowing, right? So we run out, and we got our sleeves and our shiesties on and all that, and I see them run out of the tunnel, and they don't have anything on, like they're ready to play ball, and it was almost like at that moment you kind of look down your sideline, everybody's covered up, for the elements and things like that, and they run out and they're just ready to play ball. They don't care what the elements are. They would have played in the parking lot if they, if they had to. So I think its mindset is the biggest thing, with the weather. Don't let it play in too much. But obviously, like, your decision making has to speed up a little bit because for me at least, some guys, like, take Josh Allen. Josh Allen's going to be able to throw in any weather, but you're going to have to time up you're going to have to speed up your decision making, just because the ball is not going to get there with the same timing that it normally would. So I think the biggest thing is don't let the weather affect your mindset. I think that's more so the case than the environment around you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always just curious because you always hear the 20. There's always that debate, like the 20 to 30 mile an hour winds versus the rain, like which one matters more. Looking at this Ole Miss Georgia matchup on the Ole Miss offensive side of the ball, obviously the biggest question is the Ole Miss offensive line. Can they hold up against the stout Georgia defensive front, especially after what they did to Texas, who had one of the best offensive lines in the country? My thoughts, which are amateur compared to yours. Feels like a game Jackson Dart needs to steal 40 or 50 yards rushing. He ran some against LSU, and it seems like they're kind of running him in the big games, and maybe there's a bye week behind this and everything's on the line. They're not running him week to week this year, but it kind of feels like if he can get 40 or 50 and then you get like 80 to 100 out of the running back platoon, I don't think you're going to run it down Georgia's throat, but you need to have some semblance of a running game to where he doesn't have to throw it 50 times in the rain. Is that fair assumption?
Yeah, for sure. I think you're exactly right. Especially with him and his future, you don't really want to run him against teams you don't have to. But when the game, when for lack of a better term, when it's nut cutting time, you want to play 11 on 11 football, and use his legs, because if you think about it, if you're not running the quarterback, you're playing 10 on 11 the whole time. So once you run the quarterback, it allows you, one extra guy in there. So, your numbers are the same and everything else. So, it goes from you always being -1 on offense to, now we got an even deck. And I think that's why you see that more so in the big games. Just trying to add an 11th guy is kind of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm curious too. You could move a little. You definitely could move a little bit. I remember the LSU game in 12 when you dusted like Eric Reed in that entire secondary. I was just like, damn. How important? Yeah, I know that was ridiculous. That LSU 2012 game, man. You and Moncrief.
Most fun I've ever had playing football, though. The most fun I've ever had playing football was down there in Baton Rouge that night.
Yeah, I remember Moncrief went. No, oh man, that was
ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a barn burner. How important, so this new era of college football, I'm not saying you have to have quarterbacks that like run for 100 yards, but you have to be like at least mobile. And looking at the other side, Carson Beck's not. I mean, he can't move. Yeah. And, I don't think there's anything for Ole Miss to like super be scared about when you look at this Georgia offense right now. They don't, they hadn't really replaced McConkey or Bowers that well. Those guys were, already starring in the NFL. And even in the Texas game, they won because of their defense. Like, I can't see a path where Georgia scores more than 24 points against Ole Miss in the rain with the Ole Miss's stout defensive front. So I think Ole Miss will, at a minimum, the defense is going to keep it in this game.
Yeah, I loved Beck last year. I'm not going to say he's regressed or anything like that, but and I haven't watched enough of his tape this year, but just looking at their offense as a whole and not really a deep dive or anything like that, he's not really having the year that he had last year. I really loved him last year. Thought he was one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I don't think he's playing that way right now. Hopefully he doesn't get on track this weekend. But I think we do match up finally on defense, player for player, as far as for the first time in a long time, an elite, probably since I played, probably 14, an elite defense, that can match up with any offense out there. And you feel confident with whoever they play, not just Georgia, but, confident against any offense in the country.
Yeah, I agree. And the big thing that's been crazy is the turnovers. He had 3 picks against Florida and should have thrown a 4th. That's what's been wild. And I mean, I've been saying it all week. It's the most boring coaching cliche ever. Like, whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win. Well, no crap. Yeah. But having said that, that does feel very important in this game because I don't think it's going to be a shootout.
Especially with an inch of rain coming. That's something you definitely have to worry about. But like I said, I think it might just be the player mentality in me as far as like not letting those conditions go in your head. But you're right. I mean, you got to protect the football, especially in the rain. So, and another thing that hurts, anytime it rained, I wanted to be on turf, and they've kind of put the grass back in Vaughton Hemingway. So it's going to be slushy and we just got to protect the football.
I'm curious what your opinion is on that too, because I mean, I know the grass is like safer for injuries, but Ole Miss is up tempo. Like, I feel like we're designed with the speed at receiver and the spread and all the stuff we run, like it might be better on turf. So I kind of was hesitant on switching it because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember being a kid and remember when USC, I guess it was the Reggie Bush team, USC Notre Dame, And
Yeah, where they grew the grass, out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not too much difference. I would much rather play on grass. It it feels a lot better when you hit it. There's a little give to it. And
Yeah, and it feels like the knee thing, the cutting on the turf causes those non-contact injuries like crazy.
And it's crazy to me, kind of the NFL. Those players want, grass, and it's crazy to me that you're investing millions of dollars into these players and you're not putting them on grass. But when these soccer guys come over, you put them on grass. If I'm in the NFLPA, that doesn't look good. You know what I mean? To bring these soccer guys in, they get to play on grass, but the guys you're investing in's blowing their knees out on your turf. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I agree, especially the MetLife Stadium thing in the NFL. Specifically, the Giants and Jets games, there have been so many injuries since in that new MetLife. Like, it's like crazy.
That turf has cost people millions of dollars in new contracts.
Yeah, I agree. I want to ask too. So, I mean, I follow you on Twitter. It's definitely entertaining because you're a man that's not afraid to speak your mind. You've been going real hard at your ex-coach here lately, and obviously you had a lot of success with Coach Freeze. But you kind of feel like maybe you were like he may have ran you into the ground and treated you a little weird. Like what? I'm just curious. Like, what's that about?
Yeah, I think that no doubt. Well, here's the thing. Look. It's not a thing that I love Coach Freeze. Like, it's not a thing where I wish bad on him. But like, and some people are like, well, he's mad that he didn't get a job. Well, if you would have asked me 2 or 3 years ago, probably, when I look at how injured I was, and still went out and how many contract extensions did he get? You know what I mean?
He was getting like wasn't he getting $50K? Or I think he was getting $100K bonus for every SEC win, right?
$100,000 a win. $100,000 a win. And so you look back at that and you look at the things that you sacrificed, and it's like, man, I kept my mouth shut for 15 years, 13 years, whatever it's been. And, just for the hope that maybe one day he'll hire me. Well, I'm just finally happy now. So if I got something to say, I'm going to say it. And I'm going to be, I think I think a problem that we have today is people don't want to be genuinely them. You know what I mean? And I really don't care what people think about me. Like I've had to deal with that since I was 19 years old, like being in the spotlight and things like that, people having an opinion about me. So I really don't care about your opinion because I don't bother anybody, and I know that I got a good heart. So, if I got something to say, I'm going to say it. And you can agree with it or not agree with it. Now, back to the Auburn deal, the last one wasn't a Hugh Freeze deal. This was a deal where, all right, I said whatever I said about Freeze. I'm waking up randomly to these Auburn fans just in my Instagram DMs or whatever DM they can get in, talking junk. So cool, you can talk junk to me, but somehow I got my girl's number.
Oh wow, that's a little much.
Somehow I got my girl's number, and like you can message me whatever, just don't message her. You know what I mean? So at that point, I was like, oh, I got him right here. I knew exactly what I was going to do because I knew Vandy was going to beat him. And then
I made I had Vandy money line and bet on that too.
Yeah, so I knew Vandy was going to beat them, and I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was going to put out some laughing emojis and then just watch the whole fan base burn, right, in my mentions. So, a lot of that is just me playing around and kind of my comeback that just hits me immediately. I just say it, and I think that, some people – I wish people could just see my mentions, and they think that – okay, Bo replies to everybody. I don't reply to anybody. It's like every now and then I'll just throw a shot back at you, and not really think about it. And then they just go wild about it. But it's just me playing around. I love it. Why are these people I can promise y'all this, okay? Especially now that there's so much NIL going on. A lot of the fan base cares more than the players do. So, y'all are getting mad at me all I'm doing is laughing. Like all I'm doing is putting some emojis just to like mess with you, and it's working. So, either you're gonna stop letting it work, or I'm gonna continue to do it.
Well, this Auburn fan base. I mean, let's be real. I'm sure you still like. I mean, I'm still upset over the 2014 Ole Miss Auburn game. You play quarterback in when Laquan broke his leg running in the end zone, and then that got called the touchback. I mean, that was like in my top 4 most painful Ole Miss losses in history. I think that's number 3. And then they put that freaking on the front page, that Opelika paper the next day. They showed the play. They showed Laquan snapping his leg. So I'll be honest, even if it's 10 years later, I hold a grudge still. I'm still petty about that. So I'm glad you're giving them hell. That game pissed me off.
And it's just fun. Like, I'm not going to cry about what you say to me. I'm just going to say something back to you. And, it's just fun. It's all fun.
I want to ask so a few things that are this modern football so different. Is there like any I don't want to say jealousy, but like now that the NIL, like you'd have been making $500,000 a year as a quarterback Ole Miss, and I might be going low in this day and age. Is that like, I mean, I feel kind of, I don't want to say I feel bad for y'all, but like I kind of do. I mean, it's like,
I try not to even think about it.
Yeah, I should have brought it up.
well, no, it's a good question. So for me, a guy that was a pretty popular, a popular college player when I was there.
No doubt.
And a guy that made zero money in the league, so it could have helped me start my life, instead of struggling, right? Getting not making it to the league and, having this success. It's like being a celebrity without the money. You know what I mean? Like right when you get done, you get all the negative parts of it, but you don't get I'm not saying you worked to make it. You just played, all of that. But I don't know. The point being is it could have definitely helped me start my life a lot easier. So, yeah, I'm definitely jealous. Definitely jealous of it.
I'm going to ask, so the coach, okay, the current, like we see how Ole Miss kills the transfer portal and builds to the Grove Collective in the NIL. Freeze is going the old school high school route with like the slow build, and I know they got the Deuce Knight commitment next year is hyped up to hell and supposed to be good. But do you think you can do what him and Dabo are doing in this modern age and ignore the transfer portal and like build the old way through high school, or do you think that it seems kind of short-sighted? I don't know if they're adjusting with the times. I'm just curious what you think.
It's so hard to tell because there's so many different, like, you look at Dabo's philosophy. If you would have told me before the season, I would have said that would never work, but you see that philosophy kind of working. You look at Kiffin and his philosophy, right? A different philosophy that's working, so I really don't know. I know that, it would be tough on me as a coach that, I've kind of perfected this recruiting process the way Freeze was able to. And then y'all throw in some NIL and everything else on me, and now I'm just constant readjusting, right? Constant having to, change how I'm doing things. So I think the teams that adjust, and it's hard to say like what the right philosophy is because you see both kind of being successful at different places. So what I do think that it's killing though is like the culture of your team, because the guys that I played with for 3 years, the Cody Pruitts, the CJ Johnsons, all of those guys, when we got to our senior years, we were young when we were there and we were playing those games against LSU down there where it was a tight game. We had no business being in the game, okay, when we're young, and then we could just keep battling. Well, now when you're seniors, you do all those battles together, right? And you're just so much of a closer team. Like there was one team that I played on that actually like we played for each other, right? Like each other's success. And that was that 14 team. And, that's a different kind of feeling in the locker room and just culture-wise.
No, that makes sense. Well, it's just so interesting to me because, and you look at like Ole Miss historically and like Freeze, I mean, the recruiting classes were unbelievable under Freeze. Nobody's denying that. But usually, Ole Miss doesn't always get the 5 stars like Bama and Georgia and LSU. But when you do this portal thing, it's almost like you don't even care how many 18-year-old 5 stars they get because you're bringing in 22-year-old men there's such a difference in that age gap. And, you're bringing in 22-year-old all AAC guys or all CUSA or whatever. But these guys, I mean, they're like, it's almost like boys against men as far as maturity, and so it's, I don't know, it's just a fascinating dynamic.
So I've got a kid named Noah Spencer. I mean, he plays running back. So he ran for 300 yards one night. I mean, he's up for he's one of the award for the best player in Tennessee. He's probably going to be up for that. And he has great tape, and I'm sending it out to coaches and coaches and coaches, and I can't get a bite on it right now because of the portal. And he's a great player. That night he rushes for 330, and he goes up and locks up a 4-star receiver every snap of defense also. And I can't get him an offer because they know that there's going to be 150 receivers and cornerbacks in the portal they can go get, and I don't blame them for doing that. And it's killing guys like that, like those guys that would sign with the Southern Misses, the Memphises, the UABs. Mm-hmm. They're not getting any offers right now, like none, like not even the 1AA. So it's just killing high school recruitment.
Yeah, I hate that because you're right though, because they're holding back. Teams are holding back. You got 25 scholarships a year, and what are they holding, 10 or 15 for the portal? I mean,
I'd say even more some programs.
Yeah, and it's also the G5 has almost become the new JUCO because of it. If you go there for your freshman and sophomore year and do well, you just leave.
That's exactly right. So like when I was in JUCO, we would beat out like 1AAs, like your Nichols and things like that, if they would try to come into Mississippi, because we just tell them, look, Nichols is always going to be there. You come here, your dream's still alive to go play at Tennessee or, Alabama or whatever. Whether you come here and Nichols is always going to be there. Well, now they're going to the UABs to try to make it to the Alabamas, So it's just it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't see how the coaches are doing it without going insane.
Yeah, like one thing on the Ole Miss thing, I'm curious what you think about is, like, you look at the way this team's designed. I mean, everybody's on 1-year rentals. It's all playoffs or bust. I mean, once they lose their third game, which hopefully they just don't do, on Saturday, like, no one's there to go to the Music City Bowl. I mean, literally, like, I'm very curious to see what would happen if they lose the third game. Are people going to start sitting out? What it would be like. But hopefully, Ole Miss just beats Georgia, and we don't ever find out.
Yeah, if I'm doing NIL contracts, I'm making sure that that's in the contract that, if you quit on the team, you're not getting the rest of this money or whatever it is, because at this point they're professional athletes. So, I mean, if you're out of the playoffs in the NFL, what do? You just don't play? Nope. You're a professional athlete now. You better go play. So, you just got to make sure that stuff's in the contract and all that. But, yeah, I was worried. About the second loss if we were just going to pack it in. Because the whole fan base kind of figured we were done. Things have kind of played out to where we have a chance to get in. But I definitely thought that this team would quit on us after the second loss. That definitely entered my mind.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm pumped that Ole Miss is even in it after that second loss at LSU. And, like I said, I don't think this is 2021 or 22 Georgia. I mean, I think this is, especially with them on offense and the way Ole Miss plays defense, I mean, this is a coin flip game. So – I feel like, I'm always on the, now you're an ex-player, so I don't know if you can talk about this, but, like, I'm always, I'm a big gambler. And Ole Miss was 14-1 preseason to win the title, and they're currently 35-1. So I'm going to put some cheese on the Rebs today because if Ole Miss beats Georgia, it'll be 12-1 Monday. That's how big of a difference it would be.
And, Kevin says they're 2 plays away from being undefeated, and they are, Kentucky, losing that Kentucky game really, really, really hurts. Obviously, everybody knows that. But I think, here's another thing, too. How come we can't get a night game?
Oh, I know. I hate that, too. Just because LSU's been playing night games since the 60s, they just get to have all of them. No, it's total BS. Like, just because they've always done it, they get it? Like, I don't know.
Right. So in 2012, the game, we played them late in the season like we used to all the time. And so the game was at 2:30. It may have been after time change, but right at it. It's a different stadium when the sun goes down. It is a totally different atmosphere because, like, my senior year, we played them 7 primetime, whatever it was.
Oh, yeah. I was at both.
Yeah. And so I'm excited to go play. I loved playing in Tiger Stadium. and then get down there. And I think they had added like 25,000 new seats up top, made it a different atmosphere that night too. And it was way louder than I expected because it was kicked off. The whole kickoff was kicked off at night instead of 2:30. So I felt it in the same game during the daytime, and then it turns to night, and it's a totally different energy atmosphere. It's crazy.
Yeah, like last year, the LSU Ole Miss game in Oxford was a 5 p.m. start, and it got dark at halftime, and the second half, you could totally feel it change. I mean, especially now that with like the laser drone shows and the speakers and the, all the pyrotechnics and stuff, the night stuff is a whole different deal. And honestly, what happened in Columbia, South Carolina last weekend was another, obvious incident. I mean, it really might make like a 3-point difference just having it at night instead of day.
I think, it could be more. It's so hard to play on the road, especially. It's hard to get emotionally up for every game every week, when you're playing a schedule like that. So, we just have to make sure we bring it. And I think that's something that fans don't understand is how just mentally and physically draining it is to go week to week to week to week. Like, you look at all of Saban's old teams and how they were able to do that. They were machine-like, from week to week. And that's what made him great. He was able to figure out a way to get his teams to bring it every single week.
Yeah, especially the winning on the road in conference. You see, that's just insanely tough. Are you going to be in Oxford on Saturday for this one, or are you going to be still just watching high school film from playoffs?
I hope that I'm preparing for a second-round game.
Well, I hope you are too. Well, then I hope not to see you because I want to see. I'll be following y'all's high school playoffs, and hope to see the rise of your coaching career. It's going to be fun to follow.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, yeah, Bo Wallace, Ole Miss legend. Freaking love it, man. God, I mean, I went to literally, I went back to school because y'all were good at football, and that directly affected my life. So
you picked 2 good years to go back. So
right
time.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks again. Thanks to Bo Wallace for joining us on Wake Up Mintzy. And Friday night, big high school playoff game. And follow him on Twitter at Bo Wallace14. And he I can assure you he's not a boring follow on there. That's the fact.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks.
Thanks to Bo. We're about to be joined in studio by Dan Wisher. Wish Fest, a really fun charity event that they do every November at Salt Shed. Last year I went right after I got moved here, and raises a ton of money for cancer. And looking forward to having him in here in a second. And get your tickets. It's weishfest.com. Saturday night, Salt Shed. They always have huge bands. It was such a fun event. I'm upset that I'm going to be at Ole Miss. Well, I'm not upset. I'm going to be at Ole Miss, Georgia. That's a complete lie. But if I wasn't at Ole Miss, Georgia, I would be at Wish Fest for sure. And so I'm looking forward to having him in. Just mentioned the Ole Miss Georgia game. Talked a lot about that. Want to thank Stella Blue and Dude Wipes as always for sponsoring Wake Up Mintzy. Let it rip with Dude Wipes. Find them at Amazon, Walmart, Target, nationwide on the World Wide Web. One use of Dude Wipes will change your life. Amazing product. I mean, you really can't beat it. It's kind of one of those things that once you start using them, you just can't live without them because it's that revolutionary, taking over the toilet paper world. And as always, great to chug some Stella Blue. Looking at some other college football games too while we wait on Dan Wisher to come in here. We talked a ton about Ole Miss, Georgia. I think the over-under at 55 is like 6-7 points too high. I've got it at 48-49, especially in the rain. I think that total on DraftKings is very, very inflated because of the Ole Miss 63-31 Arkansas game that pushed this total up. I'm actually going to pick – it's funny having Bo Wallace on here. I'm going to pick Ole Miss 23-17, same final score. They beat Bama in 2014. I'm feeling some synergy. On that, Bama LSU Saturday night. Bama's a 2.5-point favorite in Death Valley. Over under 58. Look, I like both home dogs this week. I like LSU and Ole Miss. I know what that game's going to be like. Heck yeah, man! We got Dan Wisher joining us here, getting ready for Wish Fest Salt Shed on this Saturday night, November the 9th. Appreciate him coming in here. It sounds like he's making the rounds, doing the media thing.
Hello.
Yeah, man, what's going on? How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. I love having y'all. I had such a good time. Last year I went, and it was the week after I moved up here, and I didn't know anyone, and y'all were just so welcoming, and I met so many friendly, good people, and I'm all about supporting a good cause, and so whatever I can do to support it. I hate that I'm not making it, to be honest, because dude, what an event! I mean, like the last year's Natasha Bedingfield, I believe.
It was.
Yeah, and then this year, who y'all
party?
Yeah, who y'all got this year?
So we have OAR headlining. Our guys are back. They've been at our event 3 times now, actually, with Mark Roberge and team. They're family to us nowadays.
That's awesome.
They're incredible. They'll blow the roof off the place at the Salt Shed, so we're excited. And Mike Posner's the second name, Will Dorado, and a gentleman named Hans Williams out from Vermont, and up and comer. So we got a hell of a show. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, you did OAR, man. Timeless band. I've been saying. I think the first time I saw them was like 2000. Still love it. 25 years later.
They still crush it. Absolute party of a band. It'll be our best show yet. I'm pretty convinced of it at the Salt Shed. That's for sure.
Heck yeah! Well, I want to talk about the origin of Wish Fest, because this has become such a huge Chicago staple and raises a ton of money. How did this all begin?
Yeah. So it began 12 years ago. So my older brother, Andrew Wisher, is his name. He passed of colorectal cancer when he was just 21 years old. He battled for 3 years, and the guy was pretty incredible. He was one that didn't really like attention whatsoever, but people gravitated towards him given his character and inspiration that he fought that disease with. And his one and only request of us was to pay forward the kindness that he received, my family received during that 3-year battle with cancer. So we took that to heart and started the Andrew Wisher Foundation. And what we do is simple, Mintzy. As you know, we raise as much money as we can, and we gift it to families with adolescents or young adults battling cancer. So it's just a really cool cause. Everyone, unfortunately, in some way, shape, or form is impacted by cancer, and this is a cause that certainly impacts the lives of these people and these families and friends, brothers, neighbors, whoever going through this. It's a direct and immediate impact, and we're so pumped and grateful that you and the rest of the Barstool family are involved in this.
Oh yeah, and shout out our guy Chuck Nasso loves it. He's I know friends with y'all, and I know I texted him you were coming on and on. He was super pumped about it.
Owe him the world. He's such a great friend, and a huge reason why we know and love you guys, and certainly why the foundation continues to grow like it is.
So how many years has this been going, and like how is it more? Because now it's huge now, is it?
Yeah, it started 12 years ago, and it really started as an event. The foundation kind of grew from the event, but we started at a baseball stadium, a minor league baseball stadium where the Thunderbolts played, and actually that's where I met Big Cat 12 years ago. So Dan's been an avid supporter and so kind through all these years later, 12 years later, supporting the cause and pumping up Wish Fest. And so met him at the ballpark, and we had our first event at Wish Fest in 2013 at the ballpark. And it went from a baseball stadium festival outside to holding a really big indoor music festival that we kind of built and morphed over the years. And as we got bigger and bigger, we brought in more and more fun, big acts. And that's kind of built the model where we have this indoor party featured by these amazing artists, and everyone that comes to the event obviously is there to have a great time, but certainly they walk away knowing that they're making a pretty huge impact.
I'll tell you what else. The Salt Shed is awesome. That is an amazing venue, and they've got the indoor and the outdoor that they do outdoor during summer. But, I mean, it's just, it opened in 2021 after COVID. It's very uniquely designed. It's got like that feel where you, like, even if you're at a huge show, it like never feels overcrowded,
Yep.
I love that y'all use that venue.
It's cool. I mean, it's a perfect spot for Wish Fest, in that we're continuing to build this indoor music festival type atmosphere, and it allows us to do that given just the gravity of the space. And not a better place in Chicago to watch a concert, and certainly not a better place for it to host our event in Wish Fest. So
how many people do y'all expect this year? It was like 4,000 or 5,000?
So the event's on Saturday. So coming up here quickly. So November 9th, we're expecting about 3,000 people, which is capacity of the indoor venue at the Salt Shed's about 3,000. So we're super pumped. We've got some tickets to sell. They're still available. So certainly anybody in Chicago, come on out and have a big party with us for an awesome cause.
The tickets are on, is it wishfest.com?
Wishfest.com, that's it, yep.
WEISH, correct?
WEISHFEST.com.
All right, got it. Y'all, so we all know, you went to Notre Dame, right?
So my younger brother went to Notre Dame.
Okay, I knew there was some kind of
I'm a Illini guy, Big Ten guy. But yeah, Nick went to Notre Dame. He had an awesome career there. Awesome friends made. A lot of his buddies still playing in the league, and massive supporters. The Notre Dame community has been a huge part of our story, and certainly a big part of growing WishFest, growing the foundation, helping all these people. A lot of Nick's friends, family, our family that has grown through the Notre Dame community has been attached with us for all these years now, and certainly a massive part of what we do and why we do it.
Okay, so you mentioned it started as baseball in the baseball stadium. When did it switch to an indoor music fest, and like how?
Yeah, it was 3 years in, so we basically had 3 awesome years outside. But as we were growing as a charity, and we're a volunteer-led organization, and we didn't really want to compete with the massive festivals here in Chicago in the summer. So as we were trying to book more and more bands, we realized the competition in Chicago is pretty tough to deal with as a small charity-led or music festival. So we found that getting kind of a niche in the winter, but trying to keep that music festival atmosphere was the niche that worked for us. So we partnered with an incredible bar down on the south side called 115 Bourbon Street, a truly unique and special place, and that's kind of where we developed our model of this indoor atmosphere with multiple stages, multiple bands, kind of genre agnostic, allowing us to invite really anybody, any demographic, any music lover. If you come to WishFest, there's something for you, and that's kind of what we were able to build, all on top of the reality that this is a massive fundraiser, and every dollar is going to these families that certainly need it. So a lot of pros to buying a ticket to WishFest.
No doubt about it. So you say the money goes to families. Is it like supporting their hospital bills or their travel expenses, or like specifically what does it go to?
Exactly, Mintzy. Yeah. So it's we don't really dictate what the families do with the money. We have some amazing hospital partners throughout Chicagoland, throughout the Midwest, and throughout the country now. Social workers, nurse navigators, oncologists, refer families to us as a vehicle of support for these adolescents and young adults battling cancer. And yeah, we write them a check and tell them to do as they please. I'm sure you're connected to folks that have gone through this. We understand that cancer is far more than a physical battle. It's a mental battle, psychological battle, and it's certainly a financial battle. So we're lucky to relieve some of that burden while they're going through it, and whether it's bills, whether it's going on a vacation with the last couple of months that they have, whether it's paying for groceries or helping with daycare. We don't really care. What we care is that in that moment of time they have something just a little less to worry about, and certainly the money does that, but even more importantly, this community that is WishFest, that is Wish Forever, allows them to feel like they're not alone in it, and that's our goal.
That's awesome. Well, I'll say I was blown away just by the event, the scope of it, how big it was, the music, just everything about it. One of the things I say about Chicago is just how friendly people are here. Because, I did the 2 years in New York. It's just a totally different deal. And, like I said, I came the week after I moved here. And, I just knew the Barstool people there. And I couldn't have felt more welcomed. And people just couldn't have been nicer. And you could feel there was, a vibe in the event that it was I don't know. There was, a really positive vibe because you feel like you're helping a good cause, but, you're also having a good time. And I don't know, just was a really special event.
No, it's cool to hear, Mintzy, and that's the goal with this, right? We certainly wanted to appeal to the masses, and that's why we bring in these awesome artists. But certainly when people get there, we want it to feel like a community. We want it to feel like this bigger family that's being built as a result of all the awesome support and PR and all the attention that the cause is garnering. And that's exactly what we're hoping to do, and continue to grow it. 3,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 to who knows where we are one day, and that's certainly going to be possible thanks to folks like you.
Oh, I promise. Thank you for saying that, but I wouldn't say I have that too much to do with that. It sounds like it raises a lot of money though if you're getting 3,000 people in there.
Yeah, it's we've helped over 600 families already in our 12-year history, and gifting over $3 million.
Wow.
Because of WishFest. And yeah, it's humbling, and it's truly credit to so many people. Like I said, it's a primarily volunteer driven event, and it takes an army to do something like that. And there's so many people that dedicate so many hours, blood, sweat, and tears, literally, to put that on for such a good purpose. And it's humbling to see all these people that just give, they care, and then they come to this event and they see it all come together, and they're equally as passionate about it, right? And that's what's so gratifying to me, and certainly driven me all these years.
So it's wishfest.com, still a few tickets available. OAR sounds like a heck of a lineup. It gets going. I think I got there like 6 or 7 last year. Something like
Yeah,
that.
it starts at 4:00, goes to about 11:30, and an open bar, 6-hour open bar, $150. That incredible lineup, and again, every dollar within that ticket, within everything you purchase at the event, supporting Wish Forever and these families that are going through a pretty tough time, and we're excited to uplift them.
Yeah, and like I said, I want to just encourage people in Chicago, even if you don't know anybody in this community, like this is one of the best networking fun events to just get out and meet people in the city that I've been to in my time here. And if you want to get connected and plugged in, meet some cool people, support a great cause, see some awesome music, I mean, no better way to do it than Wish Fest.
Couldn't agree more, man. Thank you for the plug here, and yeah, and thanks for the Barstool community following along. It's growing as a result of it, and a hell of an event, and certainly welcome everybody to come out, buy some tickets, and have a blast with us.
Wishfest.com, Saturday, 4 p.m., Salt Shed. Get your tickets online, $150, open bar, world-class music lineup, and you're supporting a great cause. What could be better? I can't think of anything. Well, Ole Miss beating Georgia would be close, but
we will have football on, by the way. That's
okay.
We must say that on the show. We'll have TV screens, big video boards around the venue, so you won't be missing the football while you're enjoying.
I think I was watching football at it last year. If I remember.
You were hogging the TV, if I remember correctly.
Imagine that. Just no way that's possible.
I'm pretty sure you asked the venue for the controls at one point, so.
That's also I think I'm guilty as charged on that. I think I'm trying to remember what game, whatever. I know it was some game I had money on, just as opposed to. I mean, that's a very vague description.
Of course, you donated the winnings, so that's all
I donated my presence in social media. Oh man! But thank you so much for coming on. Can you hang around the office for a minute?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool. We'll hang out. I'm about to close this out, and then we'll walk around the office and say hello to everybody.
Thanks, Mintzy.
Thanks to Bo Wallace for joining us. Like I said, I keep reminding everyone, library tomorrow night in Oxford for Pup Punk. 12:30 college football show Saturday. I'm going to put together a parlay for Bengals Ravens, the same game parlay for tonight. Check out the $10 boosted parlays on there. I think tonight's a $25 one with the 33% boost. Watch out for Jamar Chase. He averages like a 150-yard game against the Ravens. So maybe looking at that. And hope everybody has a good weekend. Come to the SIP, say what's up, because Barstool is taking over Oxford, Mississippi. Let's get the Rebs a big win over Georgia and get back in this playoffs. Y'all have a good weekend. Man, I love fall. The leaves are changing, football, and Stella Blue coffee. And this season, maple pumpkin pie. But my morning routine would not be complete without Dumpkin Spice Dude Wipes.
Oh, Mintzy, let it rip.
Cheers, furry fellas. Coffee that fuels you, wipes that clean you.